Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, March 15th. I want to thank those of you that continue to watch these videos, these devotions, those of you that share them. I want to thank those of you that went yesterday to pray with Sharon Brouillet. It was a great time there with her. If you weren't able to go, keep praying. She has faith to believe that God's going to heal her. So be praying for Sharon. We're praying that God has already started the healing process with her and will continue to heal her. We're in Matthew chapter 12. I'm going to be reading verses 15 through 21. Says, aware of this, remember yesterday Saturday we learned that the Jews were stirring up the people and they were going to kill Jesus. Said, aware of this, Jesus withdrew from that place. Many followed him, and he healed all their sick, warning them not to tell who he was. This was to fulfill what was spoken through the prophet Isaiah. Here is my servant whom I have chosen, the one I love and whom I delight. I will put my spirit on him, and he will proclaim justice to the nations. He will not quarrel or cry out. No one will hear his voice in the streets. A bruised reed he will not break, and a smoldering wick he will not snuff out, till he leads justice to victory. In his name the nations will put their hope. So again, aware of their plans, Jesus leaves. We're studying in our Bible study on Thursday nights. We're studying about Paul and Barnabas, about how they would go into the synagogue and teach the people, and then the Jews they'd stir up the Jews against them, and then they would have to flee to another city for fear of being put to death. What's interesting is again how God's prophecies written thousands of years before were coming true. Many times we read, good morning, Anna. Good morning, Grace. Good morning, Alicia. Good morning, Christina. Good to have you watching all the time now, Christina. I look forward to when we can meet back together again, and maybe you can bring your grandkids back with you again. So many times we read the scriptures to fulfill the prophecy, things happened to fulfill prophecy. Many times we read about that as we're reading the Bible. Interesting in Deuteronomy 18:22, where it says this. It says, if what a prophet proclaims in the name of the Lord does not take place or come true, that is a message the Lord has not spoken. That prophet has spoken presumptuously. So it says the true test of a prophet is that they're always right, never wrong. Because when God speaks through a prophet and they prophesy about future events, they will come true. God promises us that they will all, and remember it says the Old Testament was written for our instruction. If they all came true in the Old Testament, if every one of them came true, and I'm not a Bible scholar like many of them are, those that study this unbelievably tell you that every prophecy that was, and there was thousands of them in the Old Testament, every single one of them came true. Just that alone is proof of God's hands on the Word. So if the prophecies in the Old Testament came true, then we have to believe that the prophecies in the New Testament will also come true. So let's look at some of them. Let's just look at some of the prophecies that are written in the New Testament, knowing that God promises that they will all come true one day. In Matthew 24, which studied many times, where Jesus gives the signs of the end of the age, it says this. At the end times, at that time, many will turn away from the faith and will betray and hate each other. And many false prophets will appear and deceive many people. Because of the increase of wickedness, the love of most will grow cold. But those who stand to the end will be saved. And then the gospel of the kingdom will be preached to the whole world as a testimony to all nations, and then the end will come. Now again, these are prophecies. Morning, Hannah. These are prophecies that Jesus makes in the New Testament about what's going to happen one day. You can bet the farm on it that it's going to happen. And then in same chapter, I'm going to start reading at verse 29 of Matthew. It says, immediately after the distress of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from the sky, and the heavenly bodies will be shaken. It's like, whoa, whoa. You hear that? At that time, the sign of the Son of Man will appear in the sky, and all the nations of the earth will mourn. They will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of the sky with power and great glory. And he will send his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heavens to the other. This is a prophecy that Jesus himself is making. These are Jesus' words. You can count on this, that this is going to happen. The sun will be darkened. The moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from the sky. The heavenly bodies will be shaken. Now, we've studied when we went through the book of Revelation in our daily devotions, we studied a lot of this. And in 1 Corinthians, it talks about it again. Another prophecy, the same, similar one, where it says, listen, I tell you a mystery. We will not all die, but we will all be changed. In a flash, in the twinkling of an eye, and the last trumpet. For the trumpet will sound, the dead will be raised imperishable, and we will be changed. The rapture. This is a promise. This is a promise from God. It's a prophecy, and all prophecies are going to come true. The world will end one day. The world will end one day, and it'll be a major. Let me keep reading here. Then the prophecy in 2 Thessalonians, where it talks about the end days. In 2 Thessalonians 1-4, it says, concerning the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ and our being gathered to him, we ask you, brothers and sisters, not to become easily unsettled or alarmed by some prophecy, report, or letter supposed to have come from us, saying the day of the Lord has already come. Don't let anyone deceive you in any way, for that day will not come until the rebellion occurs, and the man of lawlessness is revealed, the man doomed to destruction. He will oppose and exalt himself over everything that is called God, his worship. So he sets himself up in God's temple, proclaiming to be the big God. Again, I don't have a lot of time to get into them. Again, that's the prophecy of the Antichrist. That's the prophecy of the Antichrist coming in a human body. It's a prophecy of the great rebellion, the great turning away of faith. These are all prophecies in the New Testament that haven't happened yet, but I'll guarantee you can bet on it that they're going to happen. Here's the last few here. In 2 Peter 3:6-7, it says this, by these waters also, it says they forgot that long ago by God's words the heavens existed and the earth was formed out of water and by water. By these waters also the world at that time was deluged and destroyed. Remember the great flood. By the same word that caused the flood of the earth at that time, the present heavens and the earth are reserved for fire, being kept for the day of judgment and destruction of ungodly people. And then it goes on to say in verse 10, but the day of the Lord will come like a thief. The heavens will disappear with a roar. The elements will be destroyed by fire, and the earth and everything in it will be laid bare. This is prophecy of what's going to happen one day to our world, to the world that some people worship. The world that some people just put all their marbles in. They're putting everything into this world. And nobody takes anything out of this world. And there are so many people, it's this world, it's this world, it's this world. And what does Scripture tell us, the prophecy? going to be destroyed one day. In Revelation, it tells us about the seven seals, the seven trumpets, the seven bowls. The seven trumpets are humans' destruction of the earth, and then the seventh bowls is God's destruction of the earth. These are prophecies that are going to happen. We're starting to, I believe we're starting to see some of this happening already today. We're seeing, here's one that I'm going to close with, that I'm going to, and I don't want to get political. I have no idea when they do away with certain books or certain movies or statues. I'm not going to get into that to know whether there's rationale behind all that, whether there's reasoning for it. I'm not knowledgeable enough to make those judgments. I don't know. But I heard something that kind of scared me. That I'm gonna, a little bit of my prophecy. That's kind of scares me. The Pope, when he visited Iran, made a statement that the Bible needs to be rewritten, that it's not modern anymore, that it's no longer modern. And I could see where people that are concerned about these things would look at the Bible where it talks about, women submit to your husbands. I do not allow a woman to speak in church. She must have her head. I could see where they would take all of that and say, hey, this is old-fashioned. We need to rewrite the Bible. The Bible needs to be rewritten. Now, at the same time, I know God's preserved the word for thousands of years. It would be foolish to think that he wouldn't continue to, but at the same time, it says, beware of false prophets that come. I could see one day, it might be in our lifetime, where we see them trying to change the word that's so dear to all of us Christians. But again, it shouldn't surprise us if these things happen. Should not surprise us. We read the prophecies here. We read what's going to happen. So let me close with this in Revelation. It says, I warn everyone who hears the words of the prophecy of this book. If anyone adds anything to them, God will add to them the plagues described in this book. And if anyone takes away from the book of prophecy, God will take away from them his share in the tree of life and in the holy city which is described in this book. It's like, woe to those that take away anything out of this book that's so precious to us. So there's prophecies in the Old Testament. They all came true, thousands of them. There's prophecies in the New Testament, and you can bet the farm they're all going to come true also. Every single one of them. What is like Dandy said, yep, we need to be vigilant and alert. God bless you. Thanks for joining tonight. Will be our special message. I hope many of you can join us at 7 o'clock. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow morning for our next daily devotion. God bless you. Have a great day. Pray for me at 1:30 today. I'm going to be taking a contractor's license test at 1:30 that I'm hoping to pass. I'm doing it for my son. So be praying for me, okay? God bless you all.